Are you recording? Alright, now we're going to do a Hotchkiss rear sway bar and eyebox spring and shock installation. The shocks and springs are kind of a side effect. All the major work and heavy lifting is really to the sway bar. The way the Challenger is designed, it has a cradle in the rear. The sway bar is on top of the cradle. So we're going to have to drop the exhaust because the entire cradle has to be lowered down in order to pull the sway bar out and replace it with the new one. So we're going to drop the exhaust. Of course, this is the coarse exhaust that you saw us install previously. First thing we want to do is pop the front hanger loose. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the back hanger bolts completely out. If you have a stock exhaust, same applies because the Corsa actually uses the stock mounting and stock hangers. So we're going to remove those. And it's totally futile to try and take the rubbers off. It's just easier to take the hanger loose. Bolts are 13 millimeters. Tightened after so many miles. Nice job. Alright, now we got the exhaust lowered. Next thing we're going to have to do is pop the brake line anchors on each side. Go ahead and pause. Good. That's drop off. Okay. The brake attachment point. If you'll notice on your inner fender well, you have a little cutout there, although the cutout's not big enough to actually remove the nut straight on. That is the point. So both of these on both the left and right have to be taken because when you drop the cradle, this is going to stress your brake line and there's not a whole lot of play in this, and without it, you could potentially damage your brake line. So I use a universal 10 millimeter. This is a self-tapping screw, so it's got very coarse threads, so it doesn't take a lot to get it out. Take our nut out. It's got a little hook that goes into the frame. You take the hook loose, and if you'll notice now, it's got some flexibility to it. And this is the actual sway bar that we're replacing. So that takes care of that. Let's go ahead and get the other side. It's loose. All right.
You're removing the sway bar.
I'm removing the link for the sway bar, and it looks like 15 on the nut, 16 on the nut, 15 on the head. Well, of course, if you're doing springs and shocks only, you would need to worry about this, but since we're doing the sway bar, this has to be disconnected. All right. Now, shock. Bottom shock bolt is an 18 and I believe 15 on the back side. Let me check. Damn, I'm good. So the head is 15, the nut is 18. But if you notice, due to the depth of the control arm, it's quite a challenge. You're going to have to actually press it to get it out, but we don't have to worry about that because we're going to have to drop the whole cradle to get the spring out. So when we take that loose, the whole cradle will drop down, the spring will fall out, the shock will come out, we'll put the new shock in, put the new spring in place after we get the sway bar taken care of. Alright, let's go ahead and do that. Alright, now, a lot of people make the little remark, oh, you've got a lift, it's easy. Well, actually, in this case, using a lift is actually a little bit more problematic because we don't have a ready support to put underneath the cradle to lower it down. I'm going to use my jack. I guess the whole thing can drop with the exhaust, although this isn't mounted, so that's why we had to loosen that. But essentially, you'll need a floor jack or something to put underneath the differential to lower it down slowly. Doesn't need to be lowered a lot, but it does need to be lowered in order to get the sway bar out. And also take the springs loose. Alright, so what we've done now is we've just actually put our jack up underneath the differential, and it's just up there snug holding it. It's not meant to lift it or anything. We're going to take out the 4 cradle bolts. Got 2 on this in the back and 2 in the front. They take a little bit of juice to get them undone. In this case, an impact. If you have one of those cordless impacts, that would be beneficial.